one royalty in the house.
The atmosphere here has been really, really cool this weekend, so it's been nice to be a part of.
I'd have come years ago.
Adelaide Motorsport Festival. My name is James Baldwin. Great to have your company here for the live stream of this brilliant event. There's been plenty of action already this morning, and there's action happening right now here at Victoria Park Circuit. We're just outside of the CBD in Adelaide. Let's take you now to the Grand Marquee, where Thierry Boutsen and Damon Hill are chatting with our friend Charlie Barlow.
But you avoided all of that.
Yes, but there was a thing that I learned at the beginning of the race, is that listening to the car in front of me, if you don't see it, you know when it's backing off. And then when it's backing off, you think, oh, maybe the time to brake now. So that's how we could figure out how to avoid accidents.
Yeah. And Damon, yourself, 94 and 95, a really tale of two different things happened to you on the streets of Adelaide. 94 was the big incident with Michael Schumacher, and then 95 you come back and won it.
Yeah, it's a funny thing because the 94 accident was so famous, or was it infamous, that it actually kind of drew a lot of people into the sport. A lot of people started paying attention. It was news around the world. You know, this is how the Formula One championship was decided. What do you think of that? And so it was on the one hand disappointing not to win the championship, but on the other hand it was it kind of left an interest in how things were going to go from there on. So ultimately I managed to come back and win the race, but I didn't win the championship. So, but nevertheless, it set me up. Adelaide played an important part, I think, in my career development.
And 94, as you say, it's absolutely infamous, and I think I actually really like to hear it from your perspective. So take us through that race in 1994 and how much of just a challenge it was for you, and then how, as you say, it set you up for 95 to really take on that challenge of a new season.
Well, I suppose that it all started with Imola, the 94 season, because there was this awful thing that everyone knows about, we're losing Ayrton Senna and Roland Ratzenberger, and then I was thrown into a championship battle that I wasn't really thinking I was going to be involved in. And a nice place to be, but sadly it was because Ayrton wasn't there, who was my teammate. So anyway, I fight Michael Schumacher, we go to Japan, I kept the championship alive, we come here, and there's huge amount of interest because the championship have to be decided here. So Nigel Mansell was back, and he had qualified in front of me on the front row, I think, next to Michael. And but when we left the grid, basically we left everyone behind, and it was just me and Michael. And lap after lap, it was getting closer. Then it was opening up a bit. I got stuck behind a back marker, and then I closed up a little bit. And I closed up enough. I think maybe I put a bit of pressure on Michael. And we went up, I can't remember the name of the streets, but anyway, we turned right, and I couldn't see. Once he turned around the corner, I couldn't see him. So I never saw him hit the wall when he came back onto the track. I just came around the corner and I saw Michael struggling to get grip, and I went, right, I'm going to try and go. I went one way, and then he blocked me that way, and then I thought, he's clearly in trouble. So I dove down the inside, only I didn't quite make it all the way. I didn't make it all the way through. Thierry, what do you think of that move? Tell me, as another racing driver, what did I do wrong?
I would have done exactly the same. Yeah. Fighting like this on a racetrack is sometimes very tricky. You know what to expect from the other guy, but sometimes happens things that you cannot control, and you go for it, and it's too late when you can never stop it. When you see it's too late and you hit it, you have a small accident like this, and spectacular. Luckily, nobody's hurt, but that's racing, you know. You're driving very fast. You have to take decisions within milliseconds all the time, I mean, that's life of a racing driver. When you're in the race, it's decision after decision after decision. Every millisecond there's something to do and to decide. So sometimes you get it right, sometimes you get it a little bit wrong, and that's...
And doing it with incredible forces on your body as well. It's just, it's mind-boggling when us mere mortals try to understand what you go through. But it's exactly what Senna said. If you're not going for the gap, if you're not going for it, you're not racing anymore.
Well, that's a famous quote of Ayrton's,
Yes.
but actually people misquote him. Because what he said was, if you don't go for a gap that's there, you're not a racing driver.
Yeah.
And if the gap's not there, you don't go for the gap. Yeah. So obviously with a benefit of hindsight, I would have waited and waited to see Michael pull off the track before I would try to overtake him. But anyway.
You would have mined the gap.
Yes.
The non-gap, yeah.
There wasn't a gap. Well, by the time he closed it, there wasn't a gap.
Yeah.
Well, that's racing, isn't it?
Yeah.
You see, we've been talking for 5 minutes about this, but he had to take a decision within a millisecond there. So that, I mean, that's a big difference between doing it and talking about it. Huh?
Yeah, absolutely. But let's please talk about the cars that you've been in this weekend. I think it's been lovely to see the Adelaide Motorsport Festival does this all for us. We're able to reconnect with cars that from yesteryear, and that's the same for you both as well. So you've been in the Brabham BT60B, which was your first Formula One car, and you've been in a Benetton B190. Have I got that correct? Yes. I got all my numbers right. Fantastic. Which is another Grand Prix winner. So it's two Grand Prix winners met.
It was a big honor for me to be able to drive this car. It's a fantastic car. The car won in 1990, 1 year after me winning with the Williams Renault. And when I sat in the car is great, performing very well. The engine's very strong, gearbox perfect, the braking, I mean, everything. It's like the car was in 1990, I guess, and I understand why this car won the race. They were driving it yesterday.
Yeah. It's still got traction control and everything as well, so that's good.
Couldn't help himself there. And Damon, yes, you reunited with your first Brabham. So yes, talk us through what that's been like for you.
So I was test driver for Williams in '92, and you would have thought that would be enough, but I wanted to get out there and race, and the opportunity came up with Brabham. There was a young lady from Italy called Giovanni Amati, and she couldn't find the money, sadly. So they thought, well, we'll put him in. And so I basically got the drive, and I qualified the car at Silverstone. And another Belgian, Eric van der Poel, unfortunately, I sort of used up a few too many laps, and he didn't have enough chance to, because we were sharing the car. Yeah, anyway, so Eric was a bit upset with me, but anyway, I qualified the car. And then we went to Monaco, we didn't qualify. The next race we qualified was Hungary, but that was the last time the car ever competed. I did Silverstone. I got lapped 5 times by Nigel Mansell. That's how slow the car was. Or it was either that was me, I don't know, one of the two. But the irony was I was testing the car that Nigel drove, so I knew that car he was driving, I could have driven that car. Oh. So it kind of penny dropped that I really need to get my hands on that car, not the Brabham.
But yes, that is quite funny, isn't it? You're looking at it going, I know what that car's capable of. That's very frustrating. But yes, obviously being on the streets of Adelaide in a Brabham again, talk us through what that's been like this weekend driving the car.
Yeah, it's fantastic that they can get it running, and the owner was very generous and letting the car run, and the mechanics did a great job putting it together, and I did a few laps, and I'll be honest, my neck was starting to go. At the hairpin, I was starting to feel like, oh God, this has got quite a lot of grip. And I basically pressed on best I could, but even when I was driving in '92, I couldn't get a first and second because there's no room in the car. It's got a gear lever, it's not paddle shift, and my leg gets in the way, so I was having real trouble changing gear in there.
Oh, wow.
But it reminded me, but I don't want to go back and do racing anymore, so...
That was my next question. So let's talk about the current Formula One. Of course, we know 2026 is going to look completely different to what 2025 currently is going to look like for everyone, really. We're talking to Crofty, and he was saying that it's going to take so much for everyone to wrap their heads around. So let's just stick with 2025 for a second. We're all very excited for the season to kick off next week. Damon, I know there's so many different storylines to play out, but from your perspective, any predictions, any things that we should all be focusing on as well?
I think it's a very unwise man that would make a prediction at this stage.
Yes.
I mean, I know that testing would indicate that McLaren are happy, but you just don't know with testing. It's very misleading. And we have a lot of shuffling around, a lot of drivers. There's young drivers this will be their first full season, but you got Kimi Antonelli, unknown quantity really, on a full season. We don't know where his trajectory is. George Russell at Mercedes as well. Can they fix the problems? They were quick on at times, but not all the time. Ferrari, Lewis Hamilton. I mean, it's a big story, huge story, and they don't look that uncompetitive either. And Max have Red Bull slightly dropped below the peak of the curve. Are they a less competitive team? Can they overcompensate for that with Max driving? You know, these things are... We saw a lot of unknowns, and I think that's really good.
Yeah, oh, it absolutely is. Thierry, what's your take on the current F1 paddock?
At this time of the year, it's very difficult to predict anything. I mean, the winter testing, I've done it many times. I've spent 10 years in F1, and each winter was the same thing. Everybody testing, testing different things on the cars, but you don't know what the competitivity of the car is. I mean, some people can drive really, really good times, but you don't know how they did it, why they do it, I mean, in what conditions. So, but that's the good thing about the winter. I mean, there's the question marks everywhere. Now, the first race we will see who was right, who was wrong.
And of course, the rookies are going to be there's so many of them. Is there anyone that you, in particular, that you see that could really impress us this year?
Well, at this time, no. It's impossible. There's too many of them and too many good ones. And too many. They've all proven to be race winners. So it's impossible to say. We will watch the first race with big interest, see what Hamilton will do with the Ferrari, see what Max and all the others how they will perform, how the cars will perform, how the teams will perform. It's going to be a long season, many, many races. So we will see. I mean, I'm watching this on TV from home and enjoy watching it like that, yeah.
I was going to ask, obviously, be a former F1 driver yourself, do you kind of sit on your hands and go, oh my gosh, I'd love to be in one of those cars?
No, but I've done it enough, and I like to see the other people play a little bit with it now. So, no, but it's good racing. It's very interesting. The way Formula One goes, it's more excitement, more teams getting very, very close to each other. So it's good. It's good for racing.
Fantastic. Well, we might see if we can open up for some fan questions, because I know some of you have been waiting a long time, obviously, to see Damon and Thierry. So if I could get someone to run around with a microphone, or I can do it. Thank you, Courtney. Appreciate it. So if you want to pop your hand up and you're able to ask Damon and Thierry any questions, the gentleman over here in a grey T-shirt, sir, that works well. I might just have to fill for a moment because I just threw everybody under the bus with no warning whatsoever. If I could get you to hold the microphone pretty close to your mouth, please. Pretend you're a rapper. Give us your name and your question.
Hello. Yep. Hi, I'm John. Welcome to Adelaide, Damon and Thierry. Great to have you back. Look, my question is for Damon. With the development of biofuels, do you see that is going to precipitate the end of the hybrid era, or the use of batteries in Formula One cars?
So I'm not sure if you're aware, but I'm one of the early investors in Zero Petroleum. Zero Petroleum is not a biofuel. It's a totally synthetic fuel made from sequestering carbon out of the atmosphere and combining it with hydrogen to make hydrocarbons, so completely from scratch. So Paddy Lowe likes to say that no dinosaurs were killed in the making of this petroleum. Of course, that's quite different. With biofuels, you're using stuff that... the problem with it is that it's agriculture or waste food products or whatever is used to add to the fuel. And so I think it's ethanol or whatever. But anyway, they're going to have a greater percentage of renewable, non-fossil, I should say, fuel in the car. Is that something that will disappear if they, change from hybrids I think that the future is very uncertain at the moment. We just don't know. I mean, you've got Donald Trump saying, drill, baby, drill. You know, I don't know where that's going to leave the move to reduce carbon in the atmosphere. But I think it's clearly a responsible thing to do and use Formula One as a test bed for technologies that could be beneficial to everyone, and also do a bit of work to help clean up the environment. But I don't know, I'm going on a bit, I'm sorry, it's a long answer because it's quite complicated, but in the UK they're pushing for full electric. Now, I don't know if that works in Australia because you've got such enormous ranges you're talking about of driving. In the UK it's quite a small country, so full electric is not that unfeasible, but that would mean there's no biofuel or fuel. And the reason they want electric is because of pollution. So we don't want to be putting any unburnt fossil fuels or renewable fuels into the atmosphere in towns and cities. So that would negate any argument over whether it's a synthetic fuel or a biofuel. It doesn't matter, or a fossil fuel. They're going to get rid of them in the UK. Whether they'll change their mind in the next 5 years, 3 years, 1 year, I don't know. But there's a good chance, and they already have mentioned that they might be looking in Formula One at going back to normally aspirated engines and getting rid of the hybrid altogether. So, but that's a long way off, and nobody really knows. But Thierry's an expert in this, aren't you? You know about all this stuff.
No, not at all. I mean, there's been so many changes, so many ideas, so many pluses and minuses. So we don't really know what is behind all this. I mean, there's a lot of political influences more than technical, and more than the reality is very different to what people decide what to do. They have no experience, and I think there should be a little bit more thinking about it before deciding to go one way or the other. Of course, Formula One is a very good test bed for all this. Once they decide to go one way, they should continue and develop until they find the final solution for that. But what is really the future for saving the planet? I'm not sure how to do it at the moment.
Well, thank you. Very insightful question, sir. Well done. Please let us know your name. Could you just take a step this way for us so we can just see you? Sorry, thank you. Microphone right up to your mouth just so we can hear you. Name and question, please.
Hi, I'm Michael. This is for both of you. What is any tips for anyone trying to get into F1, and also what was it like racing with Ayrton Senna?
So, any tips for getting into Formula One? Oh. And what's it like racing with Ayrton Senna? You raced more with him than I did.
Yeah, sure. To get into Formula One, you need to. Well, it's a long way. It's not easy. Not easy at all. You need to be racing from very early on. Learn how to drive. Learn how to fight with other people, and develop your skills. Develop your the way you understand the car to set it up. And it's a long fight, and it's really hard work. 24 hours per day, 7 days a week. That's only by hard work you can achieve that. And racing against Ayrton Senna. Senna was my best friend in Formula One. He was really, we were very, very close. In fact, Ayrton should have been the godfather of my second son, but he died a few days before Cedric was born. So that we were that close. And racing against him was something really special. He was for me, he was at a different level to everybody else. He had something that nobody else could fight against. I mean, this capability of driving almost anything quicker than anybody at any time was something that really brought a lot of admiration to not only to the other drivers but to the public, and that's why it's so famous still today. I mean, if you go anywhere in the world and you ask who was the Formula One champion, they will say Senna. They will not say Fangio, they will not say Schumacher, they will say Senna. And that made the difference.
Is there anything you'd like to add, Damon?
No, I think that Thierry summed it up. The only thing I will say is that in my first year with Williams, and we were racing at Donington, it was raining, and Ayrton made that fantastic start. And every time I look at the replay of it now, I kicked myself because I thought, why did I let him go so easily? And I think it was like, I'm too busy, and he just saw a gap, and like we were saying before, I must have left a gap that was there, and he went through it, and there he was off. I never saw him again.
Thank you very much for your question. I think we've got time for maybe 2 more.
Hello.
Hello.
My name is Daniel. Gentlemen, thank you for coming back to Adelaide for the event. My question to you both, I know your careers were either side, of course, of Adelaide during and before and after, but look, my question is, who would you, in terms of wheel-to-wheel racing, want to go up against one-on-one around the Adelaide Street Circuit if you had the chance? And what would be your favourite Formula One car to do it in?
So who would I want to race against round out? I don't want to race anyone. Sorry, Thierry, but I mean, it's horrible when you've got all the others trying to beat you. It's much nicer when you've got the track all to yourself.
There's something you need to do for a stage. I mean, to be competitive and to fight for the World Championship is something that you can only do for a certain period of time. Once you retire from that, I mean, you can do some enjoyment races like Goodwood, like auto race or Masters, historic races, but not to the same level for sure. So I'd like to race against anybody, but at my speed.
Would you like to race me?
Okay, you
I
want
think
to go
we had a race yesterday.
I'll take the Benetton, you take the...
Yeah, no, I'm taking that one.
Yes, I know which car you want to do it in, absolutely. Alrighty, this is my friend Charles, everyone. Charles, are we sitting down doing this one? Gentlemen, just so you know, Charles actually runs a very good Formula One podcast. He's a young man and he's looking to start his journey in reporting on Formula One. So, Charles, far away with your question.
I'm Charles, of course, and question for Damien and Thierry. You've raced some absolute legends, but is there any drivers in the current grid that could be comparable, either personality or driving, to maybe the likes of Damon Hill or Ayrton Senna, possibly comparable to maybe Max or Charles?
So yeah, comparing drivers is an interesting one, isn't it? Because you can sort of look at it and kind of go, he's a bit like this other driver, their style. And I would say that there are similarities between the way Michael raced and Max races. Full commitment, ruthless. So you might say they're of a similar type. The kind of, I would say, the artist drivers. Obviously, Thierry's an artist driver, and Jackie Stewart and Alain Prost. It seems he's Jenson Button. They make it look easy, and they don't look. And then there's the Nigel Mansell, who is perhaps in the Keke Rosberg, Alan Jones category of. You can feel the kind of machismo coming out in the car, but I don't know. I don't know what category I fall into. I will say that whenever I try to drive like anybody else, I couldn't do it. I had to drive like I did it. So trying to copy as a driver, trying to copy someone else is not a good thing to do. I don't think.
It's not a good solution. That's for sure. I mean, each driver has got his own character, his own history in racing, also his own experience. I like to have a car which is very docile, no oversteer, a little bit of understeer. I mean, it's a setup that works very well almost everywhere. But some people like to have oversteer. Some people, some like to have a very nervous car. I didn't want that. So you cannot compare. I mean, the setup of each car, even the same team, they were always different by small quantities sometimes, by big quantities some other times, but always different because you adapt it to yourself, to your way of driving the car, which is different to the other people. Everybody is different, and we are not machines. We are human beings, and we set up the car the way we want, and we try to drive it the best we can, but it's impossible to copy someone else.
Thank you both very, very much. Thank you, Charles. Okay, I think that is all for us for the Q&A section of this. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, please show your appreciation for Damon Hill and Thierry Buston. Thank you both very, very much, gentlemen. So insightful. Truly appreciate your time.
Pleasure being here. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I just want to say also, what Thierry was saying. It's been a fantastic reception. So thank you, Adelaide. Thank you, all the race fans that made me feel very welcome. And remember us racing all those years ago.
Certainly will. Thank you. Round of applause once more. Thank you. Oh.
A massive thank you to Thierry Boutsen and, of course, Damon Hill and Charlie Barlow for doing an incredible job. This is just one of the many, many things you can do here at the Repco Adelaide Motorsport Festival. There's so much more, and I was lucky enough this morning to check out a whole range of other things. Let's have a look. Well, as you can see behind me, we're here at Hard Tuned, and the man behind it all is Loz. Hello, mate. How you doing?
Good, yeah.
So, this is a pretty epic car. We'll talk about Hard Tuned in just a second. Talk us through what I am witnessing here, because it looks epic.
Okay, so it's been about a 2-year build process, and we've got a R35 GDR with a 8-litre Dodge Viper V10, fully built Cavallo setup, so 2,500 horsepower engine build on the engine, about 4,000 horsepower worth of turbos. At the moment, it's running low boost 14 psi, so 1,000 horsepower, 1,500 newton meters.
Clearly very passionate about this brilliant car. This is, to me, a great representation visually of what Hard Tuned is. Talk to us about what Hard Tuned is.
Yeah, so essentially Hard Tuned was Australia's largest car website for many years, and owners forum, community, whatnot. I think so many passionate people helped out build it as a community, and then it sort of twisted to and sort of pivoted to a clothing brand, I guess, and merchandising. And so yeah, basically we supply streetwear to race teams and to people around the world. I think we sell into 143 countries now. Australia is probably 10% of our market. We're big in America, big in Europe, and just promoting mainly drift and JDM culture to the rest of the world.
I love JDM culture. Let's have a look at some of this merch, mate. Show us over here. Let's have a look, Josh, at some of this stuff. Now, if you're a JDM nut like I am as well, of course, there's plenty of really cool cars here this weekend at Adelaide Motorsport Festival, but you've got some of the classics here, and I can see a Silvia cap right in the middle, which I'm sure is a bit popular.
Yeah, definitely. It all started with NissanSilvia.com, so that was my first sort of business endeavour, and Silvias have always been close to my heart. I think they're the proven drift chassis, isn't it? So yeah, we've still got a couple of 180s in our team and a Sil 80 and Barra S14 now we've added to our team. So yeah, they're just they're proven chassis, you know. So we love the Silvias, definitely.
Well, Loz is one of the many traders here this weekend at the Repco Adelaide Motorsport Festival for 2025. Clearly very passionate. Some really, really cool cars on display, some really cool merch on display. Mate, thank you very much.
Really appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, another really cool trader here this weekend at the Repco Adelaide Motorsport Festival is Haltech. And I've got Anna from Haltech here. Hello, mate. How you doing?
Good, thanks. Yourself?
I'm very, very well. And Haltech is, for those in sort of the car modification scene, or if you like, I don't know, YouTube channels like Mighty Car Mods, you will know what Haltech is. But why don't you give us a bit of an overview of what the company does?
So Haltech is an engine management systems company. So we create ECUs, power distribution, and do all the fun things. We're a bit of a fun company. We're the company that you come to when you're building a cool car, and obviously want to make it safe and do all the things you need it to do.
So cool cars. There's a cool car behind us here under the tent. In terms of like projects that come through the Haltech workshop in Sydney and people who are inquiring, is there something that sort of stood out to you as like the most ridiculous or the most cool?
This car on its own is already pretty ridiculous and pretty cool. As you can see, the engine does sit back. It is an RB in there. And yeah, it's definitely had a lot of interest. In terms of cool cars in general, I mean, this is pretty up there. There's probably too many to count, really.
That's always a good problem to have from a business point of view, isn't it? In terms of how you found the Motorsport Festival this weekend and the crowd interactions, has there been something that sort of stood out to you as a favourite part so far?
Well, it's been interesting because it's hot. It's very, very warm. But no, the crowd's been fantastic. Everyone's been so lovely. It's been really nice to meet so many different people and all different walks of life as well. There's so many people here that are interested in, different things compared to what we're used to, but also obviously our people as well that come and follow us around the country, basically.
They do, and you've got a really cool crew working here. Lots of merch, lots of cool ideas. I'm sure if someone wants to come down and have a chat to you about it, you're here ready to have a chat back.
Absolutely. We've got all our merchandise as always, and our tech team's here ready to answer any of your questions.
Mate, thank you so much. This is Haltech down at the Adelaide Motorsport Festival, one of many cool traders here this weekend. Down here at the Exotics, this is Tony Quinn, who is an absolute legend of Australian motorsport. Mate, welcome to the Adelaide Motorsport Festival.
A legend? What a great event. Honestly, I was here maybe, 10 years ago, 8 years ago, and it has just come on in leaps and bounds. And I spoke to Tim last night and said, mate, congratulations, what a great job. It's on its way to be the Southern Goodwood, so wish them all the luck, and, we'll certainly support it if we can. And, it's a marvellous concept. And good on South Australian government, Adelaide itself, because I know how much disruption it can be, but it's a great event, so. And thanks for letting us drive around the track, it's good.
You're driving some cool cars, including this one. Can you talk to us about this?
The Vulcan, I've had it for 8 years, I think. They only made 24 in the world. One got written off, so there's 23 left. I think it's the only one in the Southern Hemisphere. The rest are in Russia and Saudi Arabia, I think. I don't know. But it's a lovely car to drive. It's air conditioned. It hasn't got a radio or a cassette player. So, it's not all there, but no, it's a lovely car. And I just love driving it, just sitting in and driving it.
Tony, you've also got a book out as well. How's that been received?
It's very good. I mean, it's a second book, and it's a bestseller, which is a crazy thing it's a crazy thing to happen to a guy like me that, started with nothing and eventually got something. Well, shitloads, actually. But, the second book is trying to tell my story in more detail so that the young people can learn how you can make a fortune simply, not complicated, and honestly, which is the main thing, yeah. No, it's going well.
Well, Tony, thank you very much. You have to get in this car and do a display, but it's great to see you.
Yes, I've got an official telling me what it is. Please. And this is the thing that can spoil a good event, is a grumpy official.
Good on you, Tony.
Thank you.
Well, here at the Adelaide Motorsport Festival for 2025, we are very thankful to our title sponsor, Repco, and we are at the Repco stand right now. Some really cool cars here. Let's have a quick walk around. The Circuit Safari, which we did a little bit earlier on today, had this really cool slammed Showtime truck come past at ridiculous speeds. Now, this is a car or a ute or a truck, depending on your capital city of choice, that is absolutely mint. It looks a little bit rusty on the outside. That's on purpose. The sound of this thing and the speed of this thing is absolutely incredible. Of course, we've got Commodores, and maybe I could, let's see if I have, no one's watching, but I might just try and get myself a prize here. Let's see how I go. Sunglasses, excellent. I'm going to need them today because it is very bright. I'm going to get myself a pair from the wonderful Repco team down here. Now look at this piece of automotive history. Isn't this absolutely stunning? This is one of the original Formula One cars. And from that era through to some cooler, newer cars as well. This is a GR Yaris, which has been kitted out. Of course, we've got things like Hoonigan, which as soon as you see that on the side of any car, you know it likes to go sideways. This is the Showtime Mustang that takes itself out at supercars events too. And we also have this epic Porsche. Look at this, these beautiful wheels. This is some old school style wheels here. And I think we can actually chat to a man who knows a lot about everything to do with Repco. Hello, mate.
Hello, mate. How are you?
I'm very good. We're just having a bit of a walk around at the pavilion down here. There's so many cool cars. Talk us through what you've actually got around us.
It's all about just trying to mix it up for the crowd always at events. So we brought our GR Yaris, our Ford Mustang. They're predominantly used for course car rides at supercar rounds. So we brought them down, just a different mix for the crowd. We brought our Porsche 997. It was done up for Motorex last year for another activation. We've took it to the Bathurst 12 Hour, did some laps in it. Obviously the BT19, we get a little bit nervous because we're told it's uninsurable. So it's probably the most expensive car, definitely on our stand, but if not here. And then our C10, which is ripping around out on track with the Circuit Safari, which is a lot of fun. We've obviously got this awesome Nissan. There's been a bunch of media done already about that, so we're very proud to have that on the stand. And then a brand new one for a bit of a special one for me is the VH Black Brock Commodore over there. I've owned that car for 25 years. I'm lucky to have a fleet of cool cars now, but that was my first ever toy car. So Murph and I got together, and with the backing of Repco, they decided to enter us in the Adelaide Rally at the end of the year. So we thought, what car should we take? Murph loves Commodores. We pulled that out. It's been in storage for 8 years, so we pulled it out, and we're going to be coming back here to rip through the Adelaide Hills in November, which should be a lot of fun. Me and Murph did a bit of practice yesterday in the C10 around the track, and we argued after one lap, but a kilometre and a half. So not sure how it's going to go going through the hills. We don't know who the co-driver is yet, but should be a bunch of fun. But as I said, we're about to do some giveaways now for all the lucky crowd and the fans here. And Murph comes down, and he's a bit of a giveaway clown. He just throws stuff out, so doesn't stick by the rules, but it's a lot of fun.
Repco is the title sponsor of the Adelaide Motorsport Festival. This festival is amazing, isn't it? Has there been anything else that's caught your eye whilst you've been here?
Everything does every year. It's massive. Obviously, being a big supercar fan, you can't go past the historic touring cars. Love them. A little bit older category this year, which is awesome. The VK, obviously a crowd favourite. But everything that's here, the drifters are going full track this year. Absolutely insane. But it's just the mix of the crowd, the mix of the cars and the mix of the people, I think is great for the event in Adelaide. But everyone talks about it all year round to come here. It's a bit of fun. It's not a massive track. You can't really get into trouble, but it's enough to give the crowd some energy with the cars, and they get to see what these cars are made of. And, the cars that you see from an old, 180S, drifting around the track to a $10 million car from the UK, one-off hand-built hypercar, which is very exciting.
Well, mate, it is brilliant to have you here with all of these beautiful cars. Thank you so much for being part of the Adelaide Motorsport Festival for 2025. We appreciate it.
No, thank you, and we'll be back again.
Well, we're in one of the epic VIP suites here at the Adelaide Motorsport Festival. This is the Mercedes-Benz suite, and I've found someone who's a good friend of mine who does a collaboration wine with Valtteri Bottas. It's Karina Wright from Oliver's Taranga. Hello, Karina.
G'day, James. How's it going?
You're regretting saying hello to me now.
I am. I really am.
Oh, look, I want to talk to you about your relationship with Valtteri, and obviously it's the Motorsport Festival, and Ihana is such a beautiful wine. It's a beautiful collaboration, but it's really cool that he's doing it with small business in Adelaide.
Yeah, we're a McLaren Vale based. Oh, that's so loud. We're a McLaren Vale based winery, Oliver's Taranga, and it's just been amazing to work with Valtteri on our wine. We've had such a fun time. It's taken us all around the world. He's such a wine nut, so that's been really exciting to share that.
One of the things that we've said many times is it's not just his name on the bottle, he actually gets involved in the wine too.
He sure does, and actually after today, he's back down in McLaren Vale and we will be putting him to work. He'll be on the tractor, he'll be on the ferments, he will be picking grapes, so yep, all good.
Motorsport's not exactly where you've always historically been, but you're now sort of more in that kind of world. How are you finding the festival so far today?
Loud, amazing. It's just nice to be out of the winery, to be honest. It's vintage time for us at the moment, so anything other than looking at grapes and wine just for 1 second is amazing.
Well, this is Karina Wright. She's an absolute legend of McLaren Vale and, of course, wine. Thank you so much.
Cheers.
We have seen some pretty epic cars already this weekend. We've seen old school Formula One cars like Damon Hill's first ever Formula One car, the 1992 Brabham. We've also got some mind-blowing exotic cars. In front of me here, a Ferrari F40, and this car was put out the front of Ferrari headquarters when Lewis Hamilton first appeared in Ferrari this year, because it's his favourite Ferrari, and just over from it, a car that is absolutely epic in every single way. A progression from the Ferrari F40, the F50, and then the Ferrari Enzo. This car was £1 million when it first came out, and it is now stunning to see. It is drawing a massive crowd here, and I've also spotted a few other cars a little bit further along in this epically expensive marquee that I think we should go and check out. Well, we've just come from the Ferraris. This is something that's really exciting me. I'm with JP. This is a Lexus LFA, a 2011 car. I've never seen one in person before, mate. It is stunning.
Yeah, beautiful car. One of Japan's first supercars that they actually brought out, other than obviously the famous Skyline. But it is a magnificent car. I've had it since birth. I've racked up about 30,000 Ks on it. Most of those driven relatively hard. I saw it, I was a big Lexus fan and followed the car And when they went out of the aluminium into carbon, I was like, sold. So, yeah, it's a very long process, lots of begging along the way, and finally lucky enough to get one of the... There's 10 in Australia, but basically 6 to customers. So,
Mate, it is exotic, and it is in the exotic display here. Thank you so much for bringing it to the Motorsport Festival.
No worries, thank you.
We're here at the Resto Rewind Pavilion, and I'm joined by Jeff. These are some epic cars, mate. Thanks for bringing them to the Motorsport Festival and arranging them so beautifully.
Yeah, it was something different we tried this year. So these are Resto Mod cars. So basically a Resto Mod car, the very short version, it's an older car with a late model engine and running gear. So bigger brakes, better suspension, nicer gearbox. The engines are all fuel injected, so they start first time most of the time, and they got plenty of power.
Mate, epic, absolutely epic amount of cars in here, and it's clearly a crowd favourite too.
It's been really popular, it's a good point of difference. It's something we haven't done here at a Motorsport Festival before, and it's worked really well. As you can see, it's quite busy.
Well, Jeff, thank you so much. As I said, this is a brilliant collection of cool cars here at the Adelaide Motorsport Festival. We very much appreciate it.
All right, thank you.
G'day and welcome to the motorcycle section of the Adelaide Motorsport Festival. I'm Mark Brax, the commentator for the bikes, and we've got a quick chance to have a wander through and have a look at some of the bikes and some of the personalities that make up this unique event that are really embracing the motorcycles. First up here, we've got a real GP heritage motorcycle. It's the Aprilia CRT machine from 2012 that Alicia Spargo ran in that year. This thing is a 1000cc V4, and it was the catalyst for Aprilia to get back into the MotoGP scene with number 41 on the fairing. He just retired from MotoGP last year, Alicia Spargo, and this bike owned by Tom Dermody, one of 12 bikes owned by Tom Dermody on this particular weekend, 4-stroke, and then we move on to another one from 1989, going back 30 odd years, raced by Tadahiko Taira at the 1989 Australia Motorcycle Grand Prix, the first Grand Prix that was won by Wayne Gardner. Japanese rider rode this. This is a YZR 500cc machine. 2-strokes, V4 again, but completely different sounding. This was the era that was, they say, men were meant to ride these things, and they certainly were. Same as the bike beside that one, number 88. Is another YZR 500 raced by Kevin McGee in the 1990 Japanese All Japan Championship, where he finished second to Daryl Beattie. And what we got in here is another one, a 500cc Suzuki run by Steve Parrish. And we'll bring in the owner while we've got a quick chance. Tom Dermody. Mate, your magnificent collection of motorcycles is just unbelievable, and so good to see you bring so many down here. It must be pretty good to see them all out on track.
Yeah, it's brilliant to see them out on track. You know, they sit in the shed all year, don't do much, so to come to this event is pretty special for us to be able to get our bikes out and run them and show them to the public. So there are some of them pretty iconic bikes from the past, so it's just lovely to have them out.
Now, just one question. Like a dad, which one's your favourite? Although, like a dad, you don't have any favourites.
No, they're all kind of favourites. I suppose the one behind you there, the XR69, that's really the favourite because we raced that at the Island Classic for 10 years. And eventually Dave O'Johnson, the local Adelaide man, won the Island Classic on that bike. So it's a pretty special bike, really. So the rest of them are special, but that one is probably the one closest to my house anyway.
All right, mate, we'll leave you to it as we have another look down. As we said, this special bike of his won the Island Classic. This one here, that's a Suzuki. This one here, a Honda RC30, run in the Le Mans 24-hour race and the Paul Ricard 24-hour race. Another one. We could talk about these bikes for hours, but I'll get another bike to come along as well. Isle of Man regular, Brian McCormick. Big boy, can muscle a bike around a 37-mile, 60-kilometre Isle of Man track. Now he's here at a 1.5-kilometre track. A little bit different to what you used to, Brian.
little bit different and a little bit different motorcycles too. I'm used to production bikes and used to put on production bikes all my life really, and to get to ride Grand Prix bikes and some really special stuff is a dream come true. Yeah.
And what do you think of this event?
Yeah, it's mega. The crowd yesterday and the event that's put on, it's amazing, and we need more of this around Europe as well. They really put on a really good show over here, and it's impressive to see. It's impressive to see the amount of cars that are here, the amount of bikes that show up, and in fairness to Tom, he's got a big collection here as well, but you don't get this in too many places, and it's a really good festival.
And I hope you're coming back, that's for sure.
Oh yeah, look, I have an itch for it now, and I love the people, I love the place, so I definitely love to come back, yeah.
All right, well, you're going out on track soon. We'll let you go. This is an Australian engineering masterpiece, the Irving Vincent, in honour of Phil Irving, who developed the Vincent motorcycle way back in the 40s. These things, 1600cc B-twin, 2 valves, got the most unique sound on them. They've had success at Daytona. They're going over to America again this year for another look. These 2 bikes, run by Cam. Bo Beaton rides this one. That one over there that the owner, Kenny Horner's fixing at the moment, ridden by another Isle of Man legend, Cameron Donald, who'll be out there on track again soon. Another very special bike, 2 of them here. The history in this place is absolutely unbelievable. This is a Casey Stoner replica Ducati Desma Sedici, very similar to the one he won the 2007 MotoGP World Championship on. Another brilliant bike owned by Adelaide man, Andre Bosman, who's renowned for sidecars, but he swings his leg over a solo machine every now and then. And this one, going back to the 1980s, run by Michael Dunlop, Trevor Nation, the Norton Rotary. Supposedly about a 600cc, but it's a rotary engine machine made famous by Steve Hislop, who actually won a TT on a very similar machine to that. So the history lesson continues. They're the smallest bike in the field, owned by local guy David Johnson, the Yamaha TZ125. So we got from 125 to 1000cc machines. Well, we moved from the Norton onto the Crichton. Brian Crichton designed the Norton JPS machines, and he's also designed this machine as well. There's only been a handful of them built. This is the only one in Australia, the Crichton. A bit bigger, a bit more advanced than what the old Norton is. But then we go into something like the RC30, another one, owned by the Dodrills. Another immaculate machine. Then onto another Ducati 888 that goes harking back to the days of the first World Superbike rounds, where the 888s were the incarnation after the 851 that started the Superbike World Championship. So that's a bit of a brief rundown of the bikes we've got here, just some of the bikes here. We haven't got a lot of time to do all of them, but hope you enjoyed a little bit of brief about the motorcycling here at the Adelaide Motorsport Festival, and hopefully we'll be back for many more years to come.
I mean, I think it's just
As you can see, an incredibly busy morning for me here on Sunday at the Adelaide Motorsport Festival. And I tell you what, right now, it's busy on track. We've got all kinds of Porsche Carrera 911s running around the place, and I think it's only fair before we say goodbye for this year that you get a bit of a glimpse of what's happening on track. Well, as you can see, plenty of action on track, plenty of action off track. It has been an epic few days here at the 2025 Repco Adelaide Motorsport Festival. A massive thank you to all of our sponsors and partners, of course. Thank you to everyone who's come out in the last 2 days, and thank you to you for watching this live stream. My name is James Baldwin. It's bye for now.
We have F1 royalty in the house.
The atmosphere here has been really, really cool this weekend, so it's been nice to be a part of.